We are back on Professional Wrestling, the podcast for bros, and we'll let pros in as well. Jonathan Hacohen, chosen lawyer, hosting today with special guests back for a third week. You know, this man's busy schedule, and we were able to pull some teeth, tie some strings, and he is here. Bruiser Battersby, champion, Hamilton Pro Wrestling. Bruiser, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. Happy to be here.
Well, so I get my quasi-$1 million belt being the chosen championship, which I'm not going to put that up because, first of all, if I'm going to wrestle, I'm probably going to be in a hospital for about a month. So not going to happen. Same thing as my boxing career. That's why I went to bodybuilding, because the weights don't fight back. But those belts sitting there, those were not given on birthdays or as participation awards. Those were earned in the ring. Can we talk about those two belts before we jump in today?
Yeah. So the big gold one that you see there, that's the Hamilton Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. I've been training with Hamilton Pro probably 2.5 years now. It's not the company I started with, but it's who I'm with now. There was quite a while, maybe the first year or so, that I was training with them because I was coming from a different school. I was like the drop-in guy, you know. I was coming to every class 2-3 times a week, but I was still the drop-in guy. So I got talking to Rip Impact, like, "Hey, you put on some pretty killer shows, and you know I've been training with you, and I know your shows are kind of, you know, for your students to kind of get their footing. I'm a student now. I've been here quite a while." So he started, you know, putting together some creative ideas, and I was September of 2021, I think. I might be getting the time messed up, but
Time flies.
yeah, that's it. It all blurs together. But I made my debut for Hamilton Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
We do a battle royal, or it's Royal Rumble style actually, every September. I debuted in that match, won, and punched my ticket to the main event. The very next show, I wrestled who was the current champ at the time, Tyler Arrow. He got the best of me in that match. Called him out, asked him for one more opportunity. He gave it to me, and here we are. I walked away with that title. Been holding it ever since. Defended it against some of the top names in that company, guys that I was training with and sitting in the crowd watching, thinking, I really want to be a part of this roster. I want to wrestle these guys. Now they all want to wrestle me because I'm the champ.
Whose reign is longer, yours or Roman Reigns right now? Do you know?
Roman's got a couple days on me.
That's
Just
it.
a couple days, yeah.
But not much.
The other one there, that is the NSW Internet Championship. NSW runs shows in Toronto, in Hamilton, and in St. Catharines. The Survivalist took that belt from Jesse Bieber, wrestling's greatest pop star, and I have renamed it the Environmental Championship. It's not the Internet Championship anymore.
And you're going to put like a giant carp sticker on it or something, or spray paint it?
We're looking to find something to put on there to cover up that Internet logo.
It's either going to be a carp sticker or we got to go with the spray paint. But
Yeah.
I love the look of that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You make it your own. What does NSW stand for?
New School Wrestling.
New School Wrestling.
Yeah.
All right. And so the Hamilton Pro Wrestling was your first championship?
Yep. No. First championship was the Canadian Wrestling Fed has a student promotion called NWX. I think it is the new wrestling experience, Northern Wrestling Experience. So that was their student promotion. I won that championship. They call it the Northern Lights Championship in a 6-man ladder match at Resolution. It's their big show they do every year. It was the biggest crowd I had ever wrestled in front of at the time. It was 700, almost 800 people in Niagara Falls. Like the saying goes, I climbed the ladder and grabbed the brass ring, And that was a moment I'll never forget. But that was my first one. All my friends and family were there. It was a special moment.
The adrenaline must be flowing like crazy at that moment and holding that belt. It's just
Nothing like it. Yeah, like I had just wrestled a ladder match, took an RKO off the top. I gave someone a superplex off the ladder. I come to the back and I'm loose. I'm not sore at all. You wake up the next day, the adrenaline's worn off. You're like, oh no, where's the chiropractor? But yeah, no, there's nothing like that. That adrenaline is nothing like it.
And we talked in the other episode about wrestling theme songs, and I told you, like in the gym, if I have my chance, when I'm doing my training sessions, I want to listen to wrestling theme songs all day long. That's what gets my blood boiling. How did you pick your theme song? What was the thought behind it?
So I always kind of looked at myself as like a lone wolf. I not Baron Corbin, but not Baron Corbin, but I was kind of carve my own path. So I Stand Alone by Godsmack was what I used for a very long time, up until just a couple months ago. I found a instrumental cover of it, so that's what I was using. Showed it to my coach at the time back at CWF. Mm-hmm. He was listening to it, and he's, he thinks, this is good. This is good. I like it. Where's the words? It's an instrumental cover. Perfect. This is exactly what it should be. It's kind of old school. It's mean. It's heavy. What I'm using now, it's still heavy, but it's like, it's an orchestra. There's violin and there's like cellos and stuff. It's like final boss music. That's how me and Rip refer to it. Mm-hmm. It's awesome, and it's copyright free, so I don't get the strikes on YouTube anymore when I share it.
Cha-ching. There's people have to understand. You set the whole tone when you walk down the ring with what music you pick, the outfits you have on. It's you have a different dynamic altogether, certainly. And that's where I think, for any wrestlers out there who are planning to go into wrestling or are currently and it's not working for them, I'd say think about your theme song, think about your outfit. It makes a huge, huge difference.
Yep.
Now, talking about as far as people's theme songs and gimmicks and everything else, let's jump into the WWE world right now. I know you're more WWE than AEW. Although I will admit that I was not very big into AEW until this year. One of my co-hosts on the show, JP, really, really talked me into it, and I even watch Rampage now. This is like where we've gotten to in life. I even can watch an hour of Rampage on Fridays. And WWE, I love them. They make me nervous with how much Vince is controlling or not controlling in the background, the rumors of it. But let me ask you, jumping in now where we're at today during tapings, how's your feeling as far as the state of WWE talent, where the storylines are at? Are you generally a happy guy with it, or do you think we need some changes? What's your take?
Generally, I'm pretty happy with it. I can sit down and watch 3 hours of Raw every Monday and the 2 hours of SmackDown. I try to tune into NXT, but Tuesdays are tough just with the shoot job. I think there's definitely room for it to be better. I think the women could really use some more focus. There's so many talented women these days. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Mommy, Rhea Ripley. Becky Lynch, obviously, she just won the NXT title, but I do see a lack of direction in their division. I think.
Do they still have tag champions? Remember that the belts are cursed,
yeah, those
right?
cursed belts. Yeah, Chelsea Green is still the women's champ, which is awesome for her. She's a super hard worker, super talented,
local person, made it good. Indies with her husband Matt Cardona. Yeah. And I think she's still with Piper. I think that Piper Niven.
So her and Piper Niven. Piper Niven won the Chelsea's Got Talent auditions that she was doing.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's good. They definitely have some good product these days. Some stuff could use some work.
I think that the Jade Cargill addition to WWE is going to be massive.
Yeah,
she was the biggest thing going for AEW from the women's division. She's the one person I can say looking like she is jacked.
Yeah.
She is at the gym all day, every day. You can tell her and Mommy would be a fun match.
Yeah, she is a huge acquisition for them, both physically and in terms of talent. She's very good. She's got potential to be one of the biggest stars in the business. I I do try to be patient with them in terms of their storytelling because I know how much TV time they're trying to fill and how crazy their schedule gets. They love their slow burn. They love to drag storylines out. So sometimes it feels a bit repetitive, but then you get moments like the Elimination Chamber when I think that's where Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns had their big blow off in Montreal, right?
Yeah, I was there at Montreal.
Moments like that, man, it makes the slow burn worth it, right? Like there's nothing like WWE. Well, you've got AEW on TV weekly as well, but there's no other sport like it, right? They don't have the off season. They don't have a season finale. Even if you want to say WrestleMania is their season finale, they're on TV 24 hours later. What's next? What's next? What's next? The ship never stops moving, right? So sometimes when I'm feeling like, didn't I see this main event last week? It's fine. I try to be patient with it. And when I do start to feel like that when I'm watching, that's when I'll kind of sit back and watch as a student and not as a fan, right? I'll study the match. What are they doing different this time? How are they still getting the reaction from the crowd? Or are they not? Are they not able to do it, right? What are they doing that's working, not working? So
they call it a male soap opera. Like if you turn on Days of Our Lives at 1 p.m., this is now for men, but women love wrestling obviously as well. But that's where it kind of originates from. And when we talk about this stuff, like we can't watch it. We go back and read what happened. We read the blogs on it. It's a soap opera. Let's call it. It is what it is, and we're totally okay with that. And there's people in different points right now. Like we love our predictions, right? We love to see where it's gonna go. Like this past Tuesday, I was absolutely patting myself on the back because I've been calling this one now for months, and I said you want to fix Braun Breaker. You need Paul Heyman as his manager. The end. And I can see the fit. You can see Braun is where he's at. He's kind of stuck. If he was a baseball player, he'd be quadruple A. He's too good for AAA, but he's not at the majors. Where are we going to put him? You need that mouthpiece. You put the manager as I see you're looking as a wrestler and like what moves are doing. I'm watching as the manager. What's going on here? Like Prince Nana taking off is making Swerve that much bigger.
Yep.
You put Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, the sky's the limit. When you took away MVP from Bobby Lashley and you put Lashley on the mic, I'm not sure about it. MVP and him hurt business. That's where it was at.
Yep.
So it's all about those right pairings. And I was thrilled to see that from that end of it, having the Paul Heyman aspect and Dom Mysterio, another one. I was the most anti-Dom Mysterio guy going. When he was with his dad, I'm like, this is too vanilla for me. It's just, he's so boring. The second he turned on his dad, the second he joined Judgment Day, when he does his promos, he's like, I have a deadbeat dad because, all my friends got Mercedes and I got a BMW and it wasn't even an M series.
Yeah.
Like, fantastic. Like, Dirty Dom is freaking awesome. And I can say, people think that they're piping in that sound. I have been there live for 2 Dom events.
they're not.
It is real.
Yep.
They hate him.
Yep.
They hate him. And when I was down for in Detroit for this past SummerSlam, and we're sitting in line waiting to get to the buffet and early, you got to be the first ones in the arena, everybody was doing the yeah.
Yep.
And I don't think WWE ever planned LA Knight to go that direction. Like they were jobbing him as Max Dupree, and Mason Rush called it. He said, "You watch LA Knight, it's gonna happen." Him and Chad Gable, those were his predictions. And it guys, all the talent in the world, but you just need that kind of push.
Yep. Yeah, LA Knight is it's crazy, his rise. And that's a guy who's bet on himself, and it's paid off. Like you said in Detroit, when I was at SmackDown in Toronto a few months ago, same thing. We're all lining up to get in, and everybody's yeah. We're in the stands before the show even starts. They're doing their dark match before the TV taping starts. Same thing. Everybody's just, yeah. It used to be woo with Ric Flair, right? Everyone would woo all through the arena. Now it's LA Knight.
Yeah. And he's earned it. You know what?
He has. He's put his time in. He's been fairly successful everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
But I think it's his time now.
Which guys do you and gals do you like? Who do you watch right now that you're saying to yourself, man, I really like their style? Either someone who's a superstar or up and comer. Which people do you most enjoy watching in the ring currently in WWE?
I'm a huge fan of Braun Breaker. I mentioned him a few minutes ago. Seth Rollins, obviously world champ, doesn't get much better than him. Chad Gable, I love watching his style. When I first started wrestling, I really wanted to have that kind of shoot style because I have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background that I did through high school, so I really wanted to incorporate some of that. I've kind of moved more in towards like a powerhouse and just like a brute force in the ring. But I love that style, and I'd love to be able to incorporate some of that into my own. And Gunther, obviously, just
Gunther.
Gunther,
The ring general.
Yeah, he's next level, man. His not only his in-ring work, the shape he's gotten himself into since his time, like since when he started with the company, it's wild. Him and Ludwig Kaiser, it's incredible. You know, you see pictures of them from back then, and they didn't look horrible, but you compared to now, it's incredible.
Kaiser literally looks like they chiseled out his abs. Like it is unbelievable. Yeah. And I don't know if you've done much research into him, but he's a second or third generation wrestler. So he has the lineage, and I think it shows. I mean, I think now they're showing the vignettes a little bit. I think Kaiser is on his way up. I think championship gold in his future.
Yeah, I think so too. They've had a main event a few Raws recently, and he's definitely a main event player.
When you're at a pay-per-view and you're waiting for the entrance of Gunther and Kaiser comes on the mic, ladies and gentlemen, and the booing starts, but man, he is captivating on the mic, and he knows the pitch tones, and he does the vignettes, he does the interviews. The recipe's all there. I mean, everything is there for the guy. Certainly, I think comes back to paying dues. I think they're making, and he was a champ. He was NXT champ with his boy there in NXT. But I think now they bring him up, and they're like, "Sorry, buddy, we got to bring you right back down, and it's got to build you up again." And I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, it's not. You can't expect. Not everyone can be the Brock Lesnar that just comes in and straight to the top, right? You got to pay your dues. You got to put your time in, and let that. Whether you're a heel or face, you got to let that following build, and not only with the fans, but you got to build trust with the company, right? They have to know that wasn't a one-off match, that wasn't a one-time killer performance. That you can do that day in, day out, 3, 4, 5 nights a week, because that's what the Fed does. They are on the road. It's not just Raw and SmackDown. They do Raw. They do house show, now SmackDown, pay-per-view on the weekend, back to Raw on Monday. And you're talking from one side of the country to the other. You got to be consistent, and you can't let yourself go in terms of your physical or your mental health. You know, we've seen guys recently released because of issues they've had in the back.
Riddle.
Yeah. They're just not handling the pressure, or whether it's the pressure or the constant grind. It adds up, and if you want to be a top player, you got to be able to handle it. And I think Kaiser's one of those guys who absolutely can.
You got a guy like Kofi. Remember Kofi Mania took over?
Yep.
He was a champ. He was a champ for about 2 seconds, it felt like. Yep. And then right back to being a middle guy. And you know what? People say, that's not fair. That's not fair. Here's a sad reality. Wrestling, real life ain't fair, folks. That's the way it goes. And not everybody can be a champ. That's the way it is. Yeah. And there's a reason why from the end of the day, as far as what is for the federation, what is for the fans, and that's the choices. So that's where now I've been going easy on you for 3 weeks, but now I'm going to be a little more difficult on you. I got to ask you the hard questions. Okay. So let's jump into reality here, because these are the debates that are going on all the freaking chat lines when it comes to wrestling. Number one, how is your feeling about Adam Copeland, Edge going to AEW? Where do you stand on it?
I love it. I'm happy for him. Edge was one of my favorites growing up. You know, being a hometown boy, so to speak, from Toronto. He was genuinely a role model. He's put his time in with the company. He did everything there is to do in WWE. Now he's at the point where he's just going to have fun with it. It's his last ride. If he wants to go to AEW, go to AEW. Work with Christian. Have fun with it. The fans win at the end of the day, because if I want to see Edge, I can tune into AEW and see Adam Copeland, or I can pretend that that's not happening and I can just keep watching WWE. But at the end of the day, no, I'm happy for him. I was very happy to see it. I was very surprised. I didn't expect it. I know there was a lot of rumors going around and a lot of people said it was going to happen.
I saw it.
I thought, maybe he's gonna not. Maybe he'll sign like a one more match deal with WWE and have the WrestleMania send off. But I'm not upset about it. I'm happy for him.
So Bruiser, my brother. So this is the thing. It is going to come down to Edge and Christian. It was always about Edge and Christian. And it was going to be Christian coming back to WWE or Edge going to AEW. The way Vince McMahon feels about Christian Cage, right or wrong, the rumors, etc. Even if they love him and they want him back, Christian is killing it in AEW right now. He's doing the best promos of his life, the whole dead father thing with all the people. You got a dead father and you got a dead father and I'm your new dad, I'm your new dad. It's perverse and everything else, but it's the world of wrestling. But Christian has never been higher. When Edge comes in now, he's coming into Christian's house. It's really different, because they were together. Edge got the push, Christian didn't. Christian stayed in the middle card. Christian went off to TNT, did a bunch of stuff. Now, I love it. I almost feel like Edge is giving Christian the send-off. Like he is going to allow him to beat him. Yep. And I think he owes him that much. And they owe it to each other. And I love it. I think it's beautiful. I think if they handle it right. I mean, look, WWE was so nervous about this that when they had Dynamite with Christian being the main event versus Luchasaurus, like great name. So what do? They bring in Undertaker, they bring in John Cena, they bring in Paul Heyman, they bring in Asuka, bring in everything but the kitchen table, basically. That shows you how much they wanted to bury AEW because they were that nervous about Adam Copeland. So I think this is a really good thing for AEW. I think it legitimizes them even more. There's so much plot lines to be done, and they're really pushing the Christian side of things. Where I get really, really upset about it, because I get kind of crazy about wrestling, right? When somebody says to me, I think this is going to ruin Edge's legacy, I say, hell no, not even close. Because first of all, he has WWE's blessing. For sure, he's that much in there. They were not going to give him he created Judgment Day, fine. It broke away, which I think worked out great, fine. I would have slow burned that one a little more, but say la vie, there was a reason why for it. But this opportunity, what's he going to do with Christian now? The more that AEW is on the rise, this brings up WWE's game. WWE only gains if AEW rises. Yep. They've learned that. If there's no competition, it goes more stale. So this makes them up their game. Plus with the whole talk of the NXT TV contract. And so you're going to have to... NXT's become the third brand, and they're bringing on guys. Dom was the champion for North American for a while. Why are they doing this? Because TV rules, so let's bring in WWE guys. C'est la vie. Yeah. But I think that this is good for wrestling. I agree with you 100%. Edge is still going to be Adam Copeland, going to be a Hall of Famer for WWE in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Yep. And period. It's all good. Roman Reigns. The Roman Reigns legacy, the Roman Reigns title run. I have very, very strong opinions about this. You may be surprised, you may not. Where do you stand on Roman Reigns right now?
I acknowledge my tribal chief. I am a huge fan of Roman Reigns. I have been since the days of the Shield. In high school, when it wasn't cool to watch wrestling, I didn't watch a whole lot of wrestling. The Shield is what got me back into it. And their debut, I was hooked right back into it. Hook, line, and sinker. And Roman was my guy in the Shield. He was my favorite of the three. I love it. I know he gets a lot of flack for the part-time schedule and blah blah blah. He said it. I'll say it right here. If any of those guys in the WWE could have his contract, they'd want it. Why wouldn't you? And say what you want about him in the past when they were really, really trying to push him and it wasn't organic. The Roman Reigns of today, nobody can touch him. When he walks into the arena, everybody is on him. Everyone's paying attention. Everybody's feeling something. There's nobody in the crowd who's, I don't care. This is my bathroom break. This is when I'm going to go grab another beer.
Dog walking match.
He is the guy in the industry right now.
My son, who I bring to all the wrestling fans, maybe my nephew are the wrestling fans, and he comes along because he likes to experience it. He comes for the theme songs, you know?
Yep.
He says, and he admits it, like the second the Roman Reigns theme song hits, everything stops.
Yep.
And we were in Montreal. We were the only three acknowledging him.
Really?
We were.
Yeah.
Yes. Despite the booze, when he goes and talks, but you know, you add in the Paul Heyman dynamic, my tribal chief. You know,
Yeah.
it's so perfect, and the way with Brock, and you know, double cross, the redouble cross, and everything else.
Yep.
Roman is not where he's at without Paul Heyman. It fits, it works, it adds another layer to it. And he gets the mic, like, you know, he doesn't have a care in the world. I agree with you 1,000%. I think to get this streak and for longest championship has, it's great. And they made a second belt. Fine. Sylvie, they got a second belt.
Yeah,
Go
and
for it.
this-
Sure. Okay.
And the second belt is great for the company. It's more competition. It's more opportunity. Now we get to see a world title on weekly television. It's great.
Absolutely.
I don't have a problem with it. And the Fed for the longest time had two belts anyway.
Yeah.
There was only one because of Roman Reigns. So
It works, it fits, and the question will be who's going to take it off Seth. And then whoever's going to take it off Seth, I think is going to be a transitional person. They're not going to last long with it, but that's okay because, you know, right now they finally got Cody a belt because, you know, Cody's going to get a belt, certainly. And that's my third person. Where do you stand on Cody Rhodes?
big fan of Cody Rhodes. I love who he's become. When I was growing up watching him on TV, I always felt like he was forced. Not that the company was forcing him, but that he didn't, like, it just didn't feel natural for him, the character that he was trying to portray. Now, Cody Rhodes is the American Nightmare. When he comes out, you know he believes everything he's saying and everything he's doing, so you believe it too. You feel it. I know a lot of people were upset that he didn't beat Roman. Like I said, I'm a huge Roman Reigns fan, and I love the story they're telling. I think Cody's got a lot of time left in his career. He's got a lot of time to achieve any of the goals that he still wants to. And he's wrestling for WWE, which is, in my opinion, where he should be.
Well, I got to tell you, I already have the Airbnb booked for Philadelphia, so I'm heading to WrestleMania 40,000%. I just got to get my tickets. And they're predicting it's going to be the Usos against one another. Be interested to see who Roman's going to face off, but we got a lot of room till WrestleMania. But right now, we're sitting here in October, November, and the reality is in the fall season, they're already starting to build up to WrestleMania. This is where things are at in life. As far as my favorite event personally is the Royal Rumble. I love
Rumble's around the corner.
Rumble's the best.
Yep.
And you know, you're always gonna have one or two sneak people in there. So it's interesting where they're gonna go with it. There's a lot of room to play with it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Any current title holders that, as far as you see them in WWE, saying, "Man, why do they have the belt? I'd like to take them off."
No, I think Gunther is an amazing worker. He's done a lot for that Intercontinental Championship.
He restored honor.
He really did. He really did. I think his work in the ring is just, you can't top it. You cannot top it. There's other guys who are on his level, but he's at the top of the game. I'm happy with Roman as the champ.
Mommy, Dom.
Who's the U.S. champ right now?
The US?
Oh, Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
I
think he's still transitioning. I don't.
Yeah,
think
that's a
much longer.
transitional one. I'm interested to see what they do with the LWO.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys in there who I think could be breakout stars. Maybe
Carlito's back.
Carlito's back. Maybe he turns on Ray. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about Ray being the champ. I'm interested to see where it goes. He was another, growing up as a wrestling fan, he was a constant on TV, right? I remember watching him on SmackDown on Friday nights, and so it's cool to see him now. He's a Hall of Famer and still killing the game.
So as we're ending today's episode, I'm fascinated always to hear from people in the world of wrestling what they think of wrestling, and everybody's got a different take on things. So I drop you into WWE right now. Let's do a little rapid fire. You can have one manager from the ranks. Who you picking as your manager?
Paul Heyman.
If I'm not available, obviously, but
Yeah, obviously, yeah. If it has to be a
chosen manager, but it's current Paul Heyman, right?
Yeah.
If you have your top 10 managers, there's 2 through 9. He sits by himself, number 1, way above.
Yeah.
Agreed. You have to have a tag team partner in WWE, NXT. Who do you take?
Braun Breaker.
That would be a ferocious tag team. I would like the new Twin Towers.
Yeah.
I'd like that one. Dream match opponent currently wrestling. You've said on the internet before Kevin Owens. Is it still Kevin Owens?
That's a tough one. Right now, probably Gunther.
Really?
Yeah.
You want those chops?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
I love that style of wrestling, that hard hitting in your face. I love it.
I can't deny that. I agree with you 1,000% on that one.
Yeah.
If you could go and train off hours with any particular wrestler in WWE, NXT, who would you want to pick as a training partner? Who do you think you would absorb the most from? Who would excite you as far as, I want to pick this guy's brain, or her brain?
Current wrestler?
Current wrestler, yeah.
Rollins.
Over Chad Gable? It's tough, yeah?
That is a toughie, yeah. I say Rollins just because I know he actually has a wrestling school, right?
Yes,
so I know that he's a good teacher.
Yeah.
But you could probably learn a lot from Chad Gable as well.
I think as far as pure technical wrestler, I don't know if there's anything better than Gable out there. Like,
Yeah.
man, he is so sound.
Yep.
Let's face it. Rollins and Gable will all forget more about wrestling than we'll ever know. Like, that's how much information those guys have.
Yeah.
Last but not least, two-parter. Number 1, when is Roman finally going to lose the belts?
Not this WrestleMania, the following one.
No way. You think he's going to last into 2025?
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I don't think it ends at WrestleMania 40.
I'm in shock. I was shocked. I was sure Cody was taking those belts. I was sure right to the last second, and they screwed us all, and it was hilarious. And we were so sure. I'm telling you, he's losing in Philadelphia.
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Right now, unless they're bringing somebody new off the streets, who do you think is the one they're going to take the belts off him?
Right now, I'd say it has to be Cody, but so much can happen in that time, right? Even now, from now till WrestleMania this year, well, next year, so much can happen, right? But I would say Cody. Cody's going to be the one to finally do it, but I don't think it's WrestleMania 40. I think it's the next year in their third match. I think that if they main event again this year, Cody loses, and then does it finally finishes the story the following year.
So who's Roman facing in this WrestleMania coming up in Philadelphia?
Well, there's rumors of The Rock again. Could be. I could also see the Ring General winning the Rumble, dropping the IC title, winning the Rumble, going on to face Roman, and not getting the job done.
So if The Rock's going to happen, they have to decide now. Like, we need to know this by the Rumble, 1,000%.
Yeah.
If there's and the fact that they came out for that SmackDown, I mean, by the way, with the merger with UFC, there's no surprise. All of a sudden, they found enough money to find The Rock for a few minutes.
Yeah.
No coincidence there. If you have the option for The Rock, it's got to be The Rock.
Yeah.
He's not going to beat The Rock, or they're going to have Rock part of it, maybe the referee, maybe ringside, whatever. Rock all day long, yes. My prediction, if it's not The Rock involved with it, is exactly what you just said, the last one before that. Ring General goes and wins the Rumble this time because he almost got it.
Yep.
And I think he will get the job done. I think he's your new
think
heavyweight
so?
champion. I think he's earned it. And I think that then Roman goes to take a siesta for a year. That's the only guy I see as far as who's on the level, who's getting the push, who's got all the markings of everything. It's Walter. It's the Ring General, Gunther.
Yeah.
I would. That's to me a dream matchup. Those two in the ring, beautiful.
Yeah.
And this is where you all see no matter what level we are in wrestling, even if you've been in the ring for so many years or you've never been in the ring yourself, as soon as you start talking, we all have that common bondship of it.
Yeah.
That's the beautifulness of wrestling.
We're all fans at the end of the day, right?
So as we end today, Bruiser, and you've been so great with your time over the last few weeks, honestly, as a champ and coming in and sharing your stories, sharing your insights. Love it. As a heel, you know what? You come in and, man, you're a good guy. And at the end of the day, you may be a heel in the ring, but you know what? You're a gentleman all around.
Thank you.
You meet somebody new and they come to you, because I get so excited now, and they're sitting down with you and they're planning to enter into the world of wrestling. They're saying, I've trained, I want to do it, or I've had a little bit of time in the ring. You're going to sit with a future protege as a mentor and they ask you for any advice in wrestling. What would you give that protege advice today?
Be patient and pay your dues. And it kind of all goes together, but don't expect anything. You can't expect anything. You got to be grateful for what comes to you.
And if you could go now and talk to yourself when you first got into the industry, those many years ago, knowing what you know today, what advice would you give yourself, the younger Bruiser? Same thing?
Probably the same advice. If I could talk to the Bruiser that was 13 years old, I'd say, hey, start training now. Don't wait till you're 18. But, yeah, no, I'd probably remind myself, if I could talk to myself the first day I walked into the wrestling school, be patient, be consistent, be grateful, and don't expect anything. Just keep that perspective and remember, it's for the fans.
It's always about the fans. If 13-year-old Bruiser could see Bruiser today, man, he'd be pretty excited knowing that this is the life he's living.
Yeah.
And you can find him on Survivorless, Bruiser Battersby on Instagram. He loves to hear from his fans. Send your questions, send your comments on this episode, send your likes on professional wrestling. We love to hear from the fans, and you never know what questions they're going to come up with, but we're here for you, and we'd love to hear from you and share your comments. And Bruiser, man, you've been awesome the past few weeks. Thank you for sharing all your wrestling knowledge and insights with us. We'll ask you back in the new year, I'm sure. Will there be yet another belt? Most definitely. You'll find him Hamilton Pro Wrestling and all around your cities, because, man, this guy is a traveling roadshow, man. He is on the ring day in, day out. Bruiser Battersby, a pleasure, my man.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
See you all back soon on Professional Wrestling, the podcast.